Okay, welcome everybody. This is the orientation for the online statistics class. So I welcome you all, and I really hope that this goes well. This particular webinar, we're actually not going to do any statistics. This is just all about understanding what the class is going to be about and kind of how to succeed and all the little details that goes on. And I want to let you know if you have any questions, you can ask me your question and I'll be happy to answer. You can pop in the chat box and that will be, your name won't show. So I'll be able to answer your question. If you want, you can speak and that will be put in, that will be recorded. So I'll let you know that that's how it works. And so hopefully it all goes well for everybody. And let me start up by talking about the class, and that's kind of what this is all about. And I want to start out with the syllabus because that is, will tell you kind of the details of the general of what you need to know about the class. And that's important. This is very different than every other webinar that we do, which is going to be about statistics. This is just about how to succeed in the class, what you're expected to do, how to work together, all the different things, all the grading and all the different stuff that you have to get into. So let me just go through one little line at a time and talk about it. So this is Math 201, Section 4, Elementary Statistics. This is an online class. And I do want to let you know, this truly is fully online. Okay, there's nothing that you are required to do in Tahoe. So if you've never been to Tahoe, then you never have to go to Tahoe. But I will recommend, Tahoe is a beautiful place. So come and visit because it's one of the prettiest places on earth. So definitely worth it someday. But if you're in Tahoe, let me ask you, put in the chat box again, this is not public. Talk about where you are right now, or where you're living at least, and put it in the chat box so I get an idea of where this class is. So you can type in the chat box and post. And again, this is not public information for everyone to see on YouTube, but it'll help me get an idea of who you are. See if I have, so far I'm not seeing any Tahoe, which is fine. All over the place. Mostly California. Aha, we got one Tahoe person. Aha, a Nevada person. Lots of places from all over California, it looks like, so far, it looks like. And as you may or may not know, I'm in Tahoe. So that is where I am. And so this class is an online class. Hopefully this will be obvious, but you do have to have internet access to be able to succeed in this class since it's an online class. So that should not be a surprise. If you're watching this live or on YouTube, you have internet access, but you need to have it pretty much throughout the whole quarter. And we're on quarter systems. So this is it's a 12-week class, very different than semesters in terms of length. It's just a note. So the class is called Elements of Statistics and Probability. So that's what we're going to be doing, statistics and probability. And all the details we'll get into over the next 12 weeks. This is a 5-unit class, and I do want to let you know what that means. So that means that you're supposed to, there's a ×3 multiplier on the expected number of hours it takes to succeed. So typically it takes on average about 15 hours a week to succeed in this class. So if you only have an hour or two, this class won't make it for you. It's just going to be too much work. If you're spending, 90 hours a week, then that's way more than you should be spending. So around 15, it doesn't mean you won't be 16 or 14, but that's typically about what it should take. And that's the kind of standard unit system is what they call it. The Carnegie unit system it's called. My name is Larry Green. Since we're all adults, call me by Larry is fine, but however you call me, I'm fine. Just tell you a little bit about myself. I teach at Lake Tahoe Community College, that you probably all know, but I've been teaching here for a long time, most of my life actually. okay, or around half my life or so. And I love it. And I've been teaching stats forever. I've been teaching statistics online. Pretty much I was the first one in the community college system of all the 100 and something community colleges that taught statistics online. So I've been doing this forever. I also teach face-to-face, by the way. I don't just teach online, but this class is online. So I've been doing it, which means that I've been creating stuff and getting ready and changing things to make it better for many, 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 many years, many multiple decades, so that things could work. It doesn't mean there's no errors, but if you find any, let me know and I can fix it, and in the future will be even better. So in terms of getting a hold of me, I have an office phone number. So I'm not in my office 24 hours a day, by the way. So don't expect an immediate response. Usually within a day, if it's Monday or Tuesday, if it's a holiday, etc. But if you call on the weekend, it might take a few days sometimes. Not usually though. Usually within a day. Weekend will be not till Monday. Just let you know. But better, since this is an online class, is email me. You can use my college email. You can also use my private email, whichever works for you. And I'm on my email a lot. If I don't respond within 24 hours, that pretty much means that we have no internet access, which in Tahoe, we have one person here. It happens, but usually happens in the winter because we get a lot of snow. So this time of year, that usually doesn't happen. So I'll get back to you. You don't have to, but don't expect me to get back to you within a minute, because I do live my life not 24/7 online. I do that thing called sleep. I'm human, so note that. I will let you know that I am a early riser. So I'm an early riser, and that means I go to sleep early. So if you email me like at 8:30 p.m., I may be getting to bed already. So I might not get back to you until 5 in the morning. Because in fact, this morning I was up at 3:30, just to give you an idea. So I tend to wake up really early in the morning. And then I get back to you in the morning. If you email me in the evening or night, just let you know that. And I also do teach classes. So sometimes it'll be a couple of hours in the daytime, because I might be teaching a calculus class, for example. And then you have to wait until that's over before I get back to you. So just let you know that does happen. There are a few days where I'm traveling for a conference, and then it'll take longer. So anyway, that's how you get a hold of me. The Canvas webpage is absolutely necessary. So you need to get that. You need to be able to get to Canvas. I recommend going to the course that we're on, and bookmark it on your browser so that you have it without having to look it up or anything. It's the easiest. So just going through, I have office hours, and my office hours are both face-to-face and online. So I'm in my office, but most of you are probably not going to be in Tahoe. So that means that you're going to go on Zoom. So my office hours will be on Zoom, and in my office, but most of you will be on Zoom. And I just sit there. I don't sit and stare at an empty Zoom screen for an hour, like just doing nothing. That's not my way of doing things. So if you log into my office hour, say hello so that I hear it, and then I'll know that you're there, and I can, look at my screen, look at that particular part of the screen, and be able to, help you out with whatever you need. Hopefully that makes sense. And the link to my office hour is exactly the same link as the link to the webinars. So I try to make it easy. Simple, I think, is helpful. So it's the same link if you're on live, same link you're on now. If you're on YouTube, it's not a YouTube channel, by the way, but it's the same link. Okay. I will put my webinars on YouTube. Notice there is no link right now to the webinars, for the archive webinars that have happened. How come? An obvious reason. You put in the chat box on why. Why is there no link to the webinar right now? And yeah, this is our first webinar. There's nothing to link to. You can't go to YouTube and create a link to nothing. But there will eventually be a playlist. If you know YouTube, there'll be a playlist that has all the webinars for this quarter. Okay. And this number 4 will link to that playlist, but I can't make that until I have a webinar to link to. So hopefully you understand that. So that will change definitely by tomorrow morning, probably by tonight. Okay. I've created not webinars, I've created lectures for this course, and I have kind of 2 different types of lectures, which is different than a webinar, by the way. One are full-length YouTube lectures that are basically the entire chapter's material. Okay. Actually, maybe I should say I have 3, and those are very well edited out. There shouldn't be mistakes or anything like that. Clean. They're not brand new, so they're not going to be talking about newest. They won't be talking about Biden versus Trump. They'll be talking about whatever, general stuff, but statistics. So they go over that. I also have, when COVID happened, I taught the regular course online, even though we didn't want to have everyone in the world online, but that's how it was with COVID. So those are longer, and I figured I put those on YouTube, and those are longer if you wanted to watch those. So there are lots of sources. So for example, if you go to the full-length YouTube lectures, in a moment, it'll pop on up. Then you'll see there are 13 of them. Any guess on why there's 13? Yeah, there's 13 chapters in the book. So I made a full YouTube lecture for each one of the chapters. And then you just click on one of them, whatever one you're in, and then you watch. And then you have to go through the stupid commercial since it's on YouTube. And then what I like to do is I hit skip, and then you go right to the webinar. And then it'll go through. And of course, if you'll start at the start and do it from there.
This is a video,
etc. I'm not going to have you watch during this webinar an hour video or whatever. They're usually an hour-ish long. Okay. And those are some of the videos. Since Beth Marinelli Lasker just came on in, I want to introduce her. She is, and she's put in the chat box, she is in the Student Accessibility Services, and she is here to help anybody who has the accessibility needs. So let me let Beth introduce herself and talk about it.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Larry, for having me today. Yes, I work in student accessibility services at Lake Tahoe Community College. And what we do is our goal is to make your courses accessible as much as possible. So how we do that is if you have any type of learning differences, learning disabilities, it doesn't have to be learning, can be something like attention deficit disorder, anxiety, depression, students who are blind, hard of hearing, any of those kinds of things. Definitely reach out to us in SAS, and you can see Larry's got us up on the screen, all of our information there. And I also put it in the chat box. So reach out to us. If you ever had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school, middle school, even elementary school, definitely reach out to us. Some of the accommodations that we can help you with to make your classes more accessible might be something like a screen reader, might be extra time on exams, kind of depends on what your needs are, but we're happy to help you. So just reach out to me or check out our website if you would like to look at services and accommodations through SAS.
Great, thanks a lot, Beth. And they're great, by the way. They're definitely very helpful, and whatever your needs are, it'll be accommodated. And
thank you, Larry, and have a good class.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for chiming in for us. And it's in the syllabus, as you can see. So again, this is an online class. You do not have to physically go to the SAS. You just give them a call or send them an email, and they'll work with you. So that's to let you know that it will work and it'll happen. So we are here for you. Okay. So let me continue on since we just got the bit from Beth. So I also have little short introductory videos for each week. Those are like just a couple like hello videos each week, one per week actually. I also have videos of worked out problems. So those are going to be especially helpful when you're doing the assignments because there'll be links to the individual one that's relevant to that. If you just looked at it, it might be overwhelming. There's so many of them. But when you're doing the assignments, there'll be a link to one of them or two of them that will help you with the assignment. I have a interactive statistics thing where you can like there's some games you can play and there's some visualizations and do all kinds of statistics stuff. So that's always neat. The other thing that there is, and one of the things about me is that if there's something new out there that could help you, I'm going to experiment even if no one has ever tried it. And you probably know in the last 12 months or so, the big new thing in the world right now is AI. You all know that? Okay. So there has been a textbook that's similar to the one that I'm using that I'll show you in a little bit, where they've embedded AI into the textbook. So you can click on it and then ask questions and it'll like answer questions about that particular part of the textbook. Kind of cool stuff. And if you click on that, then you can make that happen. So just if that's the way you like to learn, then that's great. It's not required, but again, it's another way of learning. One of the things that I've done since I've been teaching this so long is that every year I add a piece. I add something. So this is one that I added this last 12 months is a little bit of AI. I've added a few other things too. And that way there's going to be an abundance of assistance for you. But I will let you know, it takes time. Okay, it's not something that, is in 5 minutes you'll be done for the week. So whatever you use, it's going to take some time. And some of you learn really well from videos, some of you from reading a textbook, some of you from working with a tutor, some of you from asking AI some questions and like having a conversation with the AI, however it might be to learn statistics, then that's great for you. Okay, and I want to remind you, if you have any questions, just ask when we go. And there's links to all this stuff. Okay, then there's the textbook. One of the things that has been my mission in life over the last decade or so is to make it so nobody ever drops my class because it's too expensive. So it used to be about $250 for the statistics book that I used when that was a long time ago. And I have moved to free. Okay. And to me, even better than just general free, it's something called OER, Open Educational Resources, which means it's not just zero cost, but actually I can take anything out of the book or put anything into the book that I want without breaking any copyright laws, as long as this stuff that I'm putting in is mine or OER, not copyrighted, basically. So if you click on that link, that will send you to the book. Okay, and the book is hosted by an organization called LibreText. I'll show you something interesting. I am actually wearing a LibreText sweatshirt. I was gonna wear a short shirt and shorts, but if the one person who's in Tahoe knows what I did, it is not warm. I think the high temperature is 56 today. Is the highest temperature. So I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but it's a LibreText sweatshirt. And what it is it's free. And it's a whole collection of books and stuff. And because I'm like, that's my passion, is to make sure that happens. I'm actually the national chair for LibreText statistics. So I'm in charge and I get paid zero, but since it's my passion, I'm okay with that. I'm not doing that for the money. I do get paid for teaching, but I don't get paid for doing the LibreText thing because it's really my passion. And you'll see that if you go to, I don't know, chapter 1, and let's say you want to learn about, let's see, data sampling, variation, sampling. Chapter 2 is probably a little more interesting. Let me go to chapter 2 instead. But chapter 1's kind of neat. And you go through, and there's the book. It's got all the stuff. And you'll notice right here, there's a calculator, random number generator. Let's say you want a random number between 3 and 20. There we go. Got a random number 7. I can get more and more and more and more, and it'll give me random numbers. So I actually, I'm a computer programmer too, and I coded this, and I'm allowed to put that in the book. So I made sure that throughout the book, every time there's something needed, it's got what's needed. Okay, even if it wasn't there originally, it's now there. And again, it's free. Free is always good. So this is one section. It probably doesn't have as many of the things I wanted to show you because that's just one particular section. Let me go to chapter 2, which is a little more interesting. If I go to descriptive statistics, and let's say I go to box plots. Then what I did is I put my videos directly embedded in the textbook. So if you clicked on that, this is a video on box plots. So I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but as you read the book, you can click and you get to hear the video. The videos are fully closed captioned, by the way. I made sure of that. So it's all there. And here's a game that'll guide you through the process of drawing a box plot. Okay. And you have to click on each of the values that are part of the 5-point system. And you can play the game. And here's a question. So instead of just an example, it also gives examples where you get to try out, see how it works as you're reading the book. So it gives all kinds of neat stuff. Okay. And that's the textbook. And it costs 0. You have to have internet access because it is online. And that's about it. Any questions about the book? Any questions? Okay. The course description and student learning outcomes, I'll let you read through that. This is statistics. That's the main thing. My grading policy. I grade, I like it. I don't want to be confusing, so I do the standard 90, 80, 70, 60 in terms of the grade. So you'll know what you got in terms of your points. If you got 85%, you got a B. Sound good? In terms of the grading, what counts for points, there are going to be assignments. A lot of people call that homework, but that doesn't work for online classes because everything's homework, right? When you do it online. Or it might be, I don't know, Starbucks work if you go to Starbucks and do online. But the point is, you can do whatever you want. So I call them assignments, and that'll be 10% of the grade. There'll be discussion posts that you're going to have to do. And I'm going to show you a little bit later on what they look like and how all this stuff works. So there'll be discussion posts that you have to do. Then there will be exams. There isn't going to be like a midterm and a final. I don't do that. Instead, every other week, so every even week of the class, week 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, there'll be an exam. And those exams will look like pretty much like the assignments, except you don't get to like redo problems. There'll be some problems where you actually have to type stuff at the end. The last few problems that you have to type in I self-grade. So that's going to happen. There will be 2 projects, Project 1 and Project 2. And they have dates at which they're due. And those are each worth 10% of the grade. And those projects are group projects. And they're going to be groups of 2 or 3. I'll talk about those in a little bit. Just want to let you know, I make sure the webinars typically are between around an hour and a half plus or minus 15 minutes. Okay. So sometimes orientation's a little shorter. There could be a couple more that are a little shorter, maybe one that's longer, but not real long. I don't want to torture you with like 4 hours of webinar or anything like that. So if you're wondering how long are these webinars, that's how long they typically are. Okay, so hopefully you take notes and you follow the webinar and learn from them. Today is again just about understanding the class. Tomorrow and then all the rest of them will be about the chapters that we're looking at. Okay, so the exam you'll be doing, again, this is an online class. You take everything online, including the exams. Okay, I'll grade written questions. They're going to be based on the progress towards the final answer. You need to show your work on the written questions. So you write some stuff. And you have to demonstrate that you understand what's being tested. So show work in detail. Most of the questions will be computer graded, and they're going to be graded immediately. The written questions will be graded by me. And usually within 3 days, sometimes within a day. One thing that I'm not a procrastinator. So it's not going to take me weeks to, grade anything. Just let you know that. I'm usually really quick on grading. It doesn't mean 5 minutes, by the way, because again, I do sleep and I do teach other classes, but it won't be many days or anything like that. So just let you know, you're on your own in terms of, honesty, but the exams, you really are supposed to be doing those by yourself. You're not supposed to be using AI for the exams. You're just supposed to be answering the questions, period. They're timed. So when the time's up, that's it. It's over. The exams, except for the week 12 exam, will all be, I like to say they're due on Friday, but you're given an extension until Sunday night. So Sunday night is the last possible time to do them, but you should try to do them by Friday night. If you can't get it, if by Friday you're like, it's going to take me longer than Sunday, and you ask by Friday, I give you extensions. But if you don't ask by Friday, I don't give you an extension because you're supposed to be like trying by Friday. So if you email me on Sunday, I want an extension, I don't give it to you. If you email on Friday, I do give you an extension if you want longer than Sunday. Any questions on that? Okay, so that's kind of how it is. Procrastination is a bad idea. If you wait till the last minute to try the exam, things could go wrong. So don't wait till the last minute. Okay, yeah, I'll get to you in a little bit, Hector, just a second. You'll be there momentarily. Assignment policy. So assignment policy also due Sundays, but again, try to be done by Friday. If you need extensions, they have to be asked by Friday. And then I give an extension, usually a couple days, so instead of by Sunday for the final extension, I give you till like Tuesday usually for the final extension. Okay. The assignments are graded immediately by the computer. There is no like me grading your assignment. Okay. There's no time limit for regular assignments. Exams, by the way, are 90 minutes. And that's a strict time unless you have an accessibility need. And if you go to SAS and they say you need longer, then I give you the longer. That's kind of how it works. Assignments, they don't have time limit, just a due date. So there's nothing with that. Okay. Any questions on any of that so far? Okay, I'll show you how all the stuff looks in a little bit, but right now I just want to go through the syllabus. Every week, you're going to have a discussion post to do, except this week you have 2 to do, and you'll see why. There's a kind of introduction, introduce yourself, and then there's a do statistics one. So they're different. So those are going to, you need to get a pencil and paper and write this down. The initial discussion post is due on Thursday. Okay. Then you have to reply and that has to be done by Sunday. Canvas will say, do Sunday, because that's the last final date of the reply, but the initial has to be due on Thursday. Okay, I do take off points if it's not done by Thursday. And in fact, I usually grade your initial post. You don't see the grade, but I do my own grading, usually on the weekend, like on Saturday, and get that part of it graded so that I can do the final grading on Monday or Tuesday. So just let you know that that's kind of how it works. Okay. So that's kind of how it works. Okay. And a lot of these, there's kind of two main types, except for the first one, and that is, and the last one actually. And the one type is you're going to be posting an article, like CNN article that uses statistics that we learned that week. And then someone else is going to reply and analyze the statistics they did. So that's one type. And the idea is it should be an article like from CNN. It should not be a lecture on statistics. Okay, don't do that. It should be something that was about something else that used statistics. And then the other type you'll see will be on you post a question that could be like on the exam in statistics for that topic, and then someone else has to answer it. Those are the two types I tend to do, except for first one this week, and that was just an introduction fun one. Okay, and the last one too is not hard either. Okay, so it's a good way to interact with each other. Okay. So live webinars, you must watch the webinar every week. I recommend, if you can, watch them live, like those of you who are on right now are doing. If you're watching on YouTube, you're not watching it live, because when it's live, you're able to ask questions I can answer immediately, because I always have one eye on the chat. So it's definitely more valuable if you watch it live. But if you can't watch it live because you have a work schedule issue or whatever it might be, then you can watch it on YouTube, but it must be watched by that Sunday after the webinar is done. So that would be this coming Sunday, which would be the 22nd, I guess, of September. And there will be a secret word quiz. So during the webinar, I give a secret word. I haven't given the one for this one yet, but I will soon. And you do that secret word quiz, and that'll prove that you watched the webinar. Okay. If you don't, so the webinars are not always Monday at 6. About half of them are Monday at 6. The others, most of them are Tuesday at 1. So I try to have a mix of times, kind of an evening and a kind of lunchtime-ish. And there is one evening Tuesday, because personally I had something going Monday at 6 and Tuesday at 1 at that particular week. So I made that one Tuesday at 6. But all the rest of them are going to be either Monday at 6 or Tuesday at 1. Hopefully that answers your question. And I do it at different times so that most people can at least make one of them. Okay. And if you can't make it, you can watch it on YouTube. Any questions on that? Okay, just a note. Okay, if you don't participate in a bunch of the webinars, okay, more than 4, then I could drop you from the class. Okay, and you will not pass the class too. There will be a 5% course penalty. Okay, course penalty for each of the webinars that you have not successfully completed the secret word quiz. Okay, if you miss that Sunday due date, there is an option B that's much harder, and that is you watch the webinar, you take notes throughout the webinar in detail, at least 5 pages of notes, and then email me your notes, and then I give you credit. Okay, and that's a lot of work. So it's much easier to just watch the webinar. Still good to take some notes, but I'm not as harsh. And watch the webinar, do the secret word quiz, you're done. It asks you one question: what was the secret word? You answer and it says great. That's it. Any questions on that? Okay, so There will be two projects in this class, as I mentioned. There's project one, and next week we'll talk about the details of project one. Right now, what you can do is you can find partners, okay? Because you must find partners. And what you can do is you can go to the discussion board and you can go to the project one discussion forum, like I'm doing right now, hit reply, and then type something. I am looking for two partners for project one. I would like to get an early start. So if you can also start early, please consider joining me. Or something like that. You may not be wanting to get an early start. You might not be able to work for another, like 2 weeks before it starts. And then I'm not going to hit reply because I don't need a partner because I'm the teacher. So you hit reply and then it'll post it. I'm going to hit cancel. Right now, no one's done it yet because we're just starting the class, but I recommend in the next day or two, get your partners. Find two other people. Best is three for two reasons. Best is three. One of the reasons is that if there are only two people in your project, what percentage of the work do you have to do? Very basic math. So you put in the chat box, what percentage of the work? Yeah, 50% because there's two of you. If there's three people, what percentage of the work do you have to do? Yeah, 33 1/3%. So there's less work to do if there's three of you. The other big reason, even more important, is if somebody drops a class. If there's three of you and one drops a class, then you're not desperate anymore. You still have another partner. If there's only two of you and the other partner drops a class, you're screwed. So that's just a big note, is that three is much better than two if you can get three. Okay. Any questions on the partners for the project? Okay. I'll get into the details of the project on next week. Not this week, but at least you can find a partner. There is a Q&A forum. If you go to, again, discussions, or if you click Q&A forum, go Q&A forum. That's where you can ask questions. I want to give you an idea of where you should ask which kind of questions. If you have a question, say about one of the homework problems, or sorry, assignment problems, then that would be a Q&A forum thing because other people can benefit from the conversation. If you have a personal question, like you need an extension because your mother's ill and you need to take care of her and you don't have time until you need an extra couple days, that one you probably want to email me. You don't need to tell everyone in the world about it or everyone in the class. So make sure that if it's a question that's just about the class itself or the content, that's Q&A form. Whereas if it's personal, that's email. If it's about the project, you do that in the project form, the one I just showed you. So that's just a note. Any questions about the forums? Okay. And diversity inclusion, just know it's not okay to have any discrimination in this class. You need to treat everyone as good human beings and nice people, no matter what their background is, even if it's different from you. Respect their person. Okay, so that's the main thing. I'm not going to read everything. If you want to give me anonymous feedback, like some feedback without telling me who you are, there's a way to do that. but also you can just give me feedback and I'll be happy. I would never take off points because of feedback, by the way. But give me feedback is always good. Netiquette guidelines, basically be nice to each other, treat each other with respect. Even if you don't personally see the person, they're people. So make sure that you treat them as human beings and be nice. Okay. The withdrawal dates, here it is, and then there's Title IX information. I'll let you look through that. I have office hours I mentioned, Monday, Wednesday, 2:30 to 4, 3 to 4 on Thursdays. Friday is 12 to 1. Doesn't mean I'm not around other times, but those are my official office hours. Okay, then there are the calculators. As I mentioned, I am a serious computer programmer. So instead of making you buy a calculator, I made a calculator. And if you click on this guy, this will send you to the calculator. And this is the calculator that is designed for our class. And I'll be showing you this a lot in the webinars. Also, the videos show you this calculator. They're in the book. But there is no need. And I strongly recommend not using some other calculator because that's much harder, it turns out, because this is made for us. And not only that, the order at which these are written is the order at which we do things in this class. So ANOVA, for example, doesn't happen until the last week of lecture. Okay. On the other hand, random number generator, that's what I showed you. That was the beginning, remember? Okay. Or one variable statistics. That one comes a lot, but will be tomorrow. And you put in your values. I don't know, 3, 4, 2, 5. And let's suppose it's sample standard deviation. You hit calculate and it gives you everything you need for the class. Okay, so it's really good. It turns out this has grown a lot. Not just Lake Tahoe Community College, but it's used all over the world now because it's all free. Okay, it's all open. So that's the calculator. But there's also a statistics Google Sheet program. And that is used for the projects, and that's a requirement. For me, the number one thing that I make sure about this class is that it transfers. And hopefully you all agree. My guess is if I told you that this class is not going to transfer to university, you would probably drop the class right now, wouldn't you? My guess, maybe not, but my guess is you would be dropping the class. So there are some universities, several of them, that if the class does not use a spreadsheet, then it doesn't accept it for transfer. So I make sure that there's projects that require the spreadsheet. And that way, if the university emails me about transferability and they ask, does it use a spreadsheet? I say yes. And then they say, yes, it transfers. And there are some universities that require it. So I make sure of that. Okay. And I learned that the hard way because when I first taught this class, I didn't use a spreadsheet. And there were students that it didn't work for transfer. And I was bummed. So I made the spreadsheet and I coded this is all free. This is on Google Sheets, by the way. You will need to first go to File, and then you're going to go to Make a Copy. Okay. And then I don't need to make a copy because it's me, but for you, you make a copy and then you have it. And then you'll be able to work with your partners and you'll be able to share it. Okay. Yeah, that whole, I could see you're asking about the T84 and TI-89. You're saying your syllabus says that? We're looking at the syllabus right here. Shouldn't say that. I don't see anywhere on the syllabus that says that. Here it is. We all have the same syllabus. This is it. I'm looking at it. Yeah, this is the syllabus. There is only one syllabus, and this is it. So I'm a little worried when you say my syllabus, because this is your syllabus. If you click on syllabus on Canvas, you should go to Canvas and go to syllabus. So everything you do in this class is through Canvas. So if you say your syllabus says T84, you might be in the wrong class. I don't know, because we don't use that. Yeah, so that's a little confusing. Because here it is, that's what it says. So just a note, we talked about learning disabilities, Beth did. Tutoring, all right. Now, I'm going to introduce you to Hector, our embedded tutor. Hector, can you unmute and talk?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, hello class. My name is Hector, and I'm gonna be your guys' embedded tutor for this term. And my hours, I'm gonna be posting them in this chat box. So I tutor on Mondays from 3 to 4:30 p.m. and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 6 p.m. And then I tutor. It can be like a video meeting, telephone meeting, and in office if you're in Tahoe. And I also put my link on that box to my Cranium Cafe. So there you can schedule an appointment with me, and then you can ask me any questions, and I'm free to help you guys out. And I'm happy to help you with any questions regarding statistics. And yeah, Larry.
I have a question, Hector.
Oh yeah,
Where would I meet you on campus
at the library.
at the library? Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Welcome.
Okay, let's see. Course syllabus, not $20. So you're asking about the syllabus. We're looking at the syllabus. This is the syllabus. I'm on Canvas right now. And I don't see anything about TI-84. It was like a lot of years ago, but I think that ship's long gone. Yeah, it should look exactly this, you know. Huh. This is 2024 fall, 2-1 section 4. Well, it should be it. Chris, maybe after the webinar is over, can we talk? If we can, hopefully that will work. Okay, but anyway, Hector is going to be great, and definitely use the tutors and use Hector because Hector is your embedded tutor, and which means that Hector is watching this class, knows the details of what we're doing, and will be able to help you with the specific details of what we're doing in our specific online class. So that's the person. Other tutors can help too, but the most valuable will be Hector. Okay, and I just updated the syllabus, so it actually has Hector's hours.
And can I answer a question?
Sure.
So Lydia, you don't need to schedule an appointment, but it's recommended for if you need me to help you that day on a certain date. It's recommended so you schedule an appointment, and I can help you because anyone can drop in at any moment during my hours.
I lost it. This should be
You're welcome.
one thing that you can't do is you can't update the syllabus like I just did. had to get rid of the old one and fix the person. And I just found out about Hector that not too many days ago. Okay, so again, any question you have, again, as you can see, you get immediate answers to stuff. So that's tutoring. And library and learning services, there's all kinds of information about this. There's links to it. I'll let you go to those and you can see. If you need help with Canvas, there is help. There's a video. There's also, they have a big help thing. Okay, Canvas is pretty easy though. Most people can handle it. That's the good news. If you hate Canvas, I know it's gonna sound weird, it's partly my fault in all of California, because I was actually on the statewide committee to choose Canvas as the California Community College system for all colleges, not just ours. There are 50 of us though, but we overwhelmingly like Canvas better than the rest. So it's because it was just much easier to use. Don't cheat. That's important. I'll let you read through that. And just note that at the bottom of your Canvas page, we'll give you all the due dates. That's one way of looking at it. And you can see there's stuff to do. Hopefully that makes sense. Any questions at all about the syllabus? Okay, just a note, this week, when you go to the home page, you like open up the Canvas for this class, it gets sent to the syllabus. That's going to change next week. For this week, I think the syllabus is really important. I send you there. Next week, it'll get sent to the modules. And you'll need the modules this week too. And in the future, you might need the syllabus a little bit too. So I want to kind of show you the modules and what's in here. So the first thing in the module is course information, which kind of has, oh, yes, this is dead. By the way, one thing that, see that little circle with the cross, that means you won't see that. That was an old one. That's no longer there. So it has information that you've already seen. And course materials, all kinds of stuff. And then the main thing is week by week. So I'm going to minimize the course information. Week by week, it goes through the different things that you're going to have to do for that week so that you know what's going on. So for example, week 1, because that's where we are. If you click the beginning, this is a little video. I made this a long time ago, actually. If you've been to Lake Tahoe Community College, it doesn't look like this anymore, but the statistics hasn't changed much. So there's a little video where I just kind of welcome you for the week. And you can hit the next button after watching the video. And then this is a link. Oh, sorry. Let me erase that because we don't have this yet. There is nowhere to watch these webinars until they have happened. We don't have a place. So it says you can watch the webinar here. Right now it's empty. That's how it should be. And then once this webinar is recorded and put on YouTube, then I put the link right there. So that's a good place to find it if you can't make it live. Okay. Okay, so I just got a direct message, so I won't mention your name, but that's always a good idea is that things are like feeling wrong when it comes to looking at the class and just not matching what I'm showing you. Refresh is good. Turn your computer off and turn it back on and see what happens. And that sometimes works. Not always, but that's not just for this class, but for everything. Turn on and turn back on button. So it might have had some kind of old thing if you hadn't refreshed. So that's just a note. Okay. So anyway, this is the orientation webinar. That's where we are right now. You can always go back to the modules. Instead of hitting next, you can choose. And you can see orientation webinar. The next thing is webinar on chapter 1 and 2. That happens on 9-17. That's tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. And that will give you information on how to get that one. My guess is I need to erase the Yeah, you can't view the webinar yet, so let me erase it. That was from last quarter, and there was where our internet died, which almost never happens, but it was like one of the rare times that happens. So you can view the webinar here right now. You can't view it anywhere, but you can join. And it's the same link always to join the webinars. So then in the modules, there's content. So starts with student learning outcomes, week 1. And those are your learning outcomes. Again, I'm going through this fast because hopefully you know how to read. This is the book. So if you want to go right to the book, you can go through right in Canvas and that'll take you to the book. So, and then you can read through the sections. This is chapter 1. If you go next, you'll get to chapter 2. That's the textbook. So I put in all the kind of helpful information in the in this Canvas shell by week. And here's a full-length video on chapter 1. Let me go back to the modules and I'll show you what all this stuff looks like. So I don't want to waste your time completely. Then after that, there would be a full-length video on chapter 2. There's short videos on descriptive statistics. Then I have these full-length videos are PowerPoint done. So I have the PowerPoints in case you want the PowerPoint to look at also. Okay, just to let you know. Any questions on the content that you see in week 1, for example? Any questions? So there's a lot of different ways of finding content. Okay, then there are the assignments. Okay, this week has some really easy assignments, a couple like mid-level assignments, nothing really brutal this week, but does have assignments. So there is a secret word quiz. And maybe I'll just show you the week 1 secret word quiz. Well, maybe I'll go to, let's go to, I think I need to show it so you see what it looks like. I'm going to view it as a student so that I can actually do the secret word quiz instead of see all these edit things. And then if I go to the week 1 secret word, orientation secret word quiz, this is important. Pay attention, by the way, right now. This is important. I'm going to begin. Wait for it to load. It'll happen. Loading. Sorry about that. Sometimes things are slow. Come on. Maybe because I'm on Zoom at the same time. It might be slower. There we go. Then it has one question. The secret word for the orientation webinar was? Applicable. By the way, right now, you should all get a piece of paper and pencil and write down the word applicable because statistics is applicable to so many different things. So that's why I use that word as a secret word quiz. So write that down. This is your secret word. It's all you have to do to get the credit for the orientation webinar. Okay, it's not going to stay on for much longer, but I want to make sure you see it. Applicable. Write it down. That's going to be the answer to the secret word quiz. If I hit submit, so write it down. And I hit submit. Haha, I got it right. I got 100%. Okay, that's it. Secret words are easy if you watch the webinars. Okay, and make sure you write down that word applicable because that is the secret word. Got it? Any questions? Okay. So then I'm going to leave student view. And let's see, I need to go. Oh yeah, when I'm in here, it's a pain in the butt. Just a minute. Let's try this. This won't happen to you, by the way. There we go. Okay, so there is a secret word quiz for week 1. That will be tomorrow's secret word. And that I'm not telling you today because that's tomorrow. You got to watch the webinar tomorrow. This is the only week there'll be 2 webinars, by the way. I do our orientation webinar and I do a webinar for the chapter 1 and chapter 2, a statistics webinar. And that's tomorrow will be the statistics webinar. Any questions on the secret word quiz? Okay, so then after the secret word quizzes, okay, and you can do things in any order, that's your choice, but there's going to be the discussion posts. So there is the 2 truths and 1 untruth. So I'm going to pretend I clicked on that. I'll tell you in a minute why I'm going to pretend. This is the 2 truths and 1 untruth, and this is a discussion post assignment. And please introduce yourself by stating 2 truthful facts about yourself and 1 thing that is not truthful. You will see if other students can guess what are truthful and what are not truthful. Then respond to at least one other student, list to see if you can figure out which are truthful and which are not truthful. This is one of those you can guess on everyone's for this particular assignment. It's not true of the others, but for this one, this is just fun. By the way, if you get anything less than 10 out of 10, what are you thinking? Because all you have to do is do it and do it on time by Thursday. So this is an easy one. Don't wait. I take off points if it's late, so don't be late. So if you don't do it by Thursday, then you lose points. So, but there's nothing to do here. It doesn't take more than a minute. So then you can hit reply, and when you hit reply, it's going to ask you. And I replied, and here is mine. Okay. Here are my 3 truths. See if you can guess which one is not truthful. So number 1, I personally disconnected the communication system for the space shuttle while it was in orbit, causing it to stay in orbit an extra day. Number 2 is once I stepped out my front door in Tahoe and took a walk to Yosemite. And number 3 is my YouTube channel has almost 1 million views. 2 of those 3 are true, 1 is not true. People have already guessed, and those are the guesses. So that is the 2 truths, 1 untruth. Any questions on what that looks like? Then you hit reply and you type in what you think is true. And then after that, don't forget, after someone else has already replied to yours, reply back and say which is truthful. Okay, you got to let people know after they guess. Got it? Any questions on that? So that's easy. There's no statistics to do. Then there is the week 1 survey design discussion. That is going to be statistics oriented. So that's more like all the rest of them are going to be some like that. For this discussion, please first find an article online or a course video that discusses a study that was done that uses one of the sampling techniques that we have discussed in this class. By the way, tomorrow we'll discuss in this stuff, not today. Today we're not doing stats. Okay, so you're not ready to do the survey design one yet until at least after tomorrow. You're going to want to search online for a journal article, news article, or course video. Okay, here's a resource for videos in case you're interested. I had a sabbatical where I found courses that had videos that, courses that had lectures that were on YouTube that did math, in particular statistics. Okay, then post just the link to the article and the instructions on where to find the pertinent information. Okay, don't answer your own question. All you're supposed to do is post the article and where you might want to look in the article if it's a long article. Okay, or if there's a second link, sometimes you have to do the second link. Okay, then you're going to find someone else's post that hasn't already been analyzed and replied to by one of your classmates, and reply to the post by discussing the sampling technique that was done in the study. Comment on whether the technique produced a representative sample. Identify any biases that may have occurred and describe how the data collection could have been improved in order to avoid these biases. So make sure you read the instructions before you actually try it. One of the things that I will always do is I will post a model post, usually like Saturday before, okay? So that you can kind of see what one looks like. Don't use my link though. You should do your own link, okay? And I try to make it relevant and modern if I can. So I posted a couple days ago, here's an article that, oops, T-H-A-T, it should say, I wouldn't grade off, by the way, if you have T-H-A-Q-T. Sorry about that, I'm not perfect. I grade off if your statistics is incorrect, but things like spelling errors, I don't care that much, as long as it's readable. States that Harris has a 5-point lead over Trump among registered voters. You can find it at this link. A description of the sampling technique is given at the end of the article. Okay, this is Yahoo News, by the way, but there's lots of places you can find stuff. Just a note, when you do a reply and you copy and paste a link, make sure you hit the space bar after that so that the link becomes real, and you'll see it become blue after you hit the space bar. If you post a link and then hit reply, the link doesn't become an active link. That's just a note that people do. Okay, and that's just to be nice to your classmates so they don't have to copy and paste the link. Space bar is really easy to hit, or anything you hit, actually it'll happen. Okay, then I reply. If you see one reply, then I do a full reply that's kind of, I mean, don't copy and paste exactly what I wrote because you'll have a different link to read. But it gives you an idea of what a good post should look like. Any questions on that idea? And I'll be doing that for all of the main ones. On the guess the truth and untruth, I don't need to give you an idea of what it looks like to say which is truthful. I hope you can say that. Any questions at all on this example? Okay, and this is real, by the way. This is an assignment. This will take a lot more time than the first one, because this one you actually have to do statistics and think about what's been happening in chapters 1 and 2. Okay, let me go back to the modules. Okay, so we just watched, we just saw the discussion posts assignments. Then comes the regular assignments. And this week you have chapter 1 and chapter 2. Okay, there's no exam this week. Often on no exam weeks, I'll give you a little bit more to do because exams are a little harder. Because this is week 1, which is an odd week, so there's no exam. Next week has an exam. So if you go to chapter 1, for example, you don't get to have a choice between teacher preview and yours. You're just going to click. Then it'll give you a lot of things to do. Okay, so identify the type of data that would be used to describe a response. Students' GPAs. Okay, so let's suppose you chose qualitative. I'd submit the question. Got it wrong. Bummer. But here's the thing. See, it says get a similar question. Right now I have 0 out of 1 point. I have 0% on this question. If I get a similar question, it gets me to try another one that has the same kind of feel, but it's not the same answer necessarily, but the same idea. Now a person's ethnicity, let's suppose I thought it was quantitative continuous question. No, still not right. So I can get a similar question. How about number of pets that are owned? So now I'm going to try, how about quantitative discrete? I'm going to submit the question and I got it right. So you just have to get it right once to get full credit. Any questions on that? So you should get pretty much all the problems right because you get to try them as many times as you want. But if you're not understanding it, don't just guess. Get help. Okay, get help. Go to Hector, one of the tutors, or go to my office hour and I'll help you out. Post in the Q&A forum and I'll be able to answer the question for you and explain why that's true. Okay? note that there are 15 questions in this particular section. Let me do one that isn't. There we go. Some of them are not going to be multiple choice. Some are going to be, you got to put in a number. Okay, so 50 part-time students were asked how many courses they were taking this term. The incomplete results are shown in the table below. And you have to find all these things. Okay, and you can try cumulative frequency. That might be 21. And relative frequency for this one, you can try a bunch of things. Let's suppose you thought the relative frequency was 0.42. And let's suppose you thought the cumulative frequency was 39. And number 3, let's suppose you thought this was 11. And you thought this was 0.18. And you thought this was 50. What percentage of the students take exactly 2 courses? And let's suppose you thought that was 42%. And I submit the question, and then notice I got some of it right and some of it wrong. Okay, so you can get a similar question and redo the whole thing if you want. Okay, and then you'll start over, and it'll be similar but different. Now it's about flossing teeth. Okay, these numbers are all randomized, so the problems are always going to be a little different, but the same idea. Any questions on kind of how these look? Just note there's also links to the textbook. Okay. And sometimes when they're relevant, there'll be a link to a video too. This one's not that relevant. Any questions on what these look like? Any questions? Okay, let me go back to the modules. There is a chapter 2, and it's going to be the same idea. There'll be different questions. Okay, and you have to decide which is right. And it's going to be the same idea. You can try as many times as you want. On the exams, you don't get a similar question. You try once, and if you got it wrong, that's wrong. Got it? I do want to note something about the exams. And if we go, let's go back to the modules and just note, once you have done all of the content of all of the assignments for the week, you're done for the week. Got it? And then you can breathe. Okay, sometimes you got to work on the project if, right now you're working on the project this week. What's your goal in the project this week? Put in the chat box what you think the goal on the project is for this week. For project 1? Yeah, fine. Close, but instead of find partners. Yeah, 2 partners is better. So you want to trio. You can't be 4, by the way. Can't be a group of 4. You can group of 3 is best. 2 is last try. Don't wait 2 weeks. Okay, get that done, this week. If you go to week 2, by the way, you'll see this week 2 exam. Okay, and that you'll have to do. And just note, when you see your score, when you're done with the exam, I believe it automatically gives you a 0 on the one that I grade you. So it'll look like you did worse than you really did, if you did those problems. So the last few problems that have me grading will automatically give you 0 until I grade it, and then it boosts your score up to the points that you get for that. So don't get too stressed out, especially those last questions, which if you leave them blank, then that's your score. But if you try them and get them right, or at least show effort and have parts of the ideas right, then you get some points. Got it? Okay, so there are other assignments to do. For example, in week 5, there's project 1. And that's an assignment where you post your project 1. I'll talk about that later. But so there are some other things to do. But that is pretty much it in terms of the things you're going to be doing for this course. What I want to let you know is just because this is online does not mean you're alone. Okay. Hopefully, since you're an online student, you are okay with communicating online with each other. Okay. However you like it. It could be email, it could be some kind of Zoom, it could be, whatever you like doing for communication. It could be, calling on your phone, whatever works for you. Make sure that you're not just totally by yourself. Does that make sense? That's one of the reasons why I require that you have partners, because I don't think it's healthy to be completely alone. So that's why you have to do that. So I think I am going to call it a webinar. So again, it's within 15 minutes of an hour and 30 minutes is what I usually try and do. It's 7:17 right now. So I am going to stop the recording. Do that now, which means the webinar is going to be officially over.